Hey guys, it's Scott from Let's Play Easy Mode, and today we're going to be diving in for the very last time into the world of The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you're new here, then welcome to the channel. And if you're one of our regulars, then welcome back. Today we're going to be doing something that I've never ever done on the channel before. At least this way. We've done some reaction videos to cutscenes and things like that. We've done that in the Halo series, but basically that was based on just getting lore and, playing a style of video game that I didn't really want to play, so we just watched the cutscenes to get the basic idea. This is a little different because if you've been following our playthrough with The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, you know that I have an extreme love-hate relationship with this game at this point. I have absolutely loved the idea of filling in the story about Link and Zelda. I've loved getting some lore as far as how it starts. You know, I do know that this is the first of the Zelda games when it comes to chronological order in the timeline as they are reincarnated through the ages. And I also know that there's a lot of tie-ins into Breath of the Wild, which is absolutely one of my favorite games of all time. I can't even describe to you the joy and the sentiment I have and just the love I have for Breath of the Wild. That's why it's been so painful for me to have to wait all this time and not play Tears of the Kingdom. But that said, I will admit to you that, and I mentioned this in the previous episode, I've really had a love-hate relationship. I love the story of Skyward Sword, but there is probably no other game I've actually hated playing as much as this one over the last several years. I can't think of one in recent history that I have actually hated playing as much. To do with the motion controls, I don't like them. To me, they feel a little clunky. Now, if you love this, if this is your kind of game, I'm so glad you have this. I'm so glad that you have Skyward Sword to enjoy. I know there are lots of YouTubers out there who have long Let's Plays of this game, walkthroughs they do 100%. Those guys obviously have far more skill than I do, and I'd say go watch those videos and support those YouTubers. For me, I only really played this game to really fill in and see what the story was and hopefully have fun along the way, and unfortunately the fun failed me in this game, and I haven't been good at it. And you know, even the long puzzles, like these long temples or shrines that we have to figure out along the way, I think wouldn't be that big of a deal for me. Because I enjoyed doing this in Breath of the Wild. Shrines were turned into one of my favorite things in that game. You know, I enjoyed doing the divine beasts, but I enjoyed the controls of that game. You know, I got good at it, relatively speaking, and I really enjoyed playing because it felt like a modern game. This, I don't even have the words to describe how bad I think the controls are. So that said, I'm gonna quit rambling about it. But what I will say is I've decided to no longer play Skyward Sword. What I am going to do is I'm going to finish out this game. I found a cutscenes video, and I hope that it's not totally lame watching it. I kind of wrestled with maybe I should just find a what you need to know about Skyward Sword video and just watch that and call it good. But I didn't want to miss anything along the way either if they were like small little things. So what I have found is a video on YouTube with all the cutscenes from the point that I left off in the game. And where I left off, there was like this totem pole that was jumping around in the mining facility or some sort of robot thing. And you had to blow the beanie windmill thing on top of its head to get it to open its mouth to expose a jewel or something like that, or something you had to whack, and I had the hardest time doing it. Now, that said, I did go back off camera, well, not actually off camera, but off the channel. I was gonna see if I could at least record some sort of redemption for myself, and I did get this. At first I need to get this. I did it again. It's really hard. What? I got it! That was it? That was all there was? I must have just been playing this too long. Okay, let's run up here and let's see what's in here. And of course, I do it, and then everything crashes. The problem was, after I beat that guy, I went back and I just kept playing, and then I didn't know what to do next. And then it really just dawned on me that even if I could redeem myself, I just don't want to play this game. I don't want, when I hear about how many hours I have left or what I have to do and how much exploration there is, the idea of doing it with this control scheme makes me not even want to be a gamer anymore. If this game was the only game left on an island that I was on, I would find a new hobby. So what I want to do is I just want to watch, I'm going to react to these cutscenes, and I'm going to put a smile on my face, and we're going to enjoy the story of Skyward Sword. And we're going to get away, we're going to pretend those controls don't even exist, and I'm going to watch this, and we're going to finish out this game, and I will give you my final review based on my experience. If you're excited to see this series get finished out and just end our time in Skyward Sword, or even if you're not, do me a favor to click like on this video and also comment down below, fill in with the lore, let me know what I'm missing in the story, and anything that the cutscenes don't cover, I would love to hear from you guys. Also subscribe to the channel for more content, and also hang out with us at Discord, the link for that is down below. If you'd like to get access to more content and also support the work of Let's Play Easy Mode, make sure to hop on over to the Patreon page, which you can get to by going to this link right here. For $5 a month, you can get early release content, and for $10 a month, you can get that plus exclusive content, because we have games that we're playing on Patreon that you will not see here on regular YouTube because they're for Patreon eyes only. But no matter what you sign up for, you can be a part of our Wednesday night exclusive Patreon live stream, which is so much fun to hang out midweek as a community over there at Patreon. Speaking of the patrons, a special thank you going out to this amazing list of names. If you are out there and you would like to get shout outs in every single video, as well as extra content, and just be a part of this amazing list of names, then make sure to get over there and get signed up at Patreon today. All right, guys, I hope that the community isn't too disappointed that I decided to cop out and just watch the rest of the game, but I think you guys would rather see me approach the games that we play with a positive attitude and not to get so wound up and upset, because that's just not me, and I don't need those kinds of games in my life if that's what they're gonna do. So let's go ahead and finish this out with big smiles on our faces. I'm kind of excited to just get the controllers out of my hand and actually really experience the goodness of the story of Skyward Sword. So without further ado, let's dive back into the world for the last time of Skyward Sword. Well, okay guys, we are going to actually watch this video put out by a channel called Zelda. It's called Zelda Skyward Sword HD Story Explained, and this is actually an audible that I just called. I started watching a cutscenes video, and I started recording myself taking from the place of where we left off in the mining facility. And I couldn't believe what I saw. I couldn't believe that to find out that the tall woman who was with Zelda was actually Impa. And then that raised all kinds of questions. But then the problem was, it was just a cutscenes video that was like 2.5 hours long. And so what happened was, there's no gameplay in it, and it was just cutscene to cutscene to cutscene. And it got so incredibly disjointed that I lost track and interest because I was like, all right. I mean, I have no idea how much gameplay has happened in between each, cutscene. And so I looked this up, and what I saw, I was just looking for, give me a whole story in a synopsis kind of thing. And I found, this is the only one I found, was by Zeltic, Zelda Skyward Sword HD, Story Explained. It's 42 minutes long, and I think it's just going to get into everything I need to know about Skyward Sword, and that's how we're going to do this, guys. I don't really see any other way to do it, though I was blown away to find out that Impa was right there with Zelda, and it raises all kinds of questions. Is Impa reincarnated as well? I can't imagine it's that she's an ancient being that has lived this long, because she was young here, and then she's young in Hyrule's Warriors, but then 100 years later, she's like ancient, right? So unless she just ages really quickly in that last 100 years, I don't know. But this is interesting because we've also seen Beetle, and nobody's really given me, it's all been speculation on whether or not that's the same Beetle or not. But now that's also raising the question, well, if that's a different Beetle, you're telling me that's a different Impa? So I don't know. We're seeing other characters besides Link and Zelda in this, and I'm really curious how this all ties together, and I'm really hoping that Zeltic here will be able to explain the story in a way that brings all of this back around. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hit play. As we do with other reaction videos, if there's a point where I just need to stop the video and talk for a minute, I will, because I don't want to miss anything. This is 42 minutes long. All credit goes to Zeltic. Thank you so much for making this video for us to be able to understand the world of Skyward Sword. And so all credit going out to the channel Zeltic. And hopefully I don't get hit with any weird strikes or anything like that. But this will at least fill me in so that we can move on beyond Skyward Sword now. And after this is done, I still want to give you my review of the game, my experience with it, and then what I think of all of this. So stay tuned to the end, and we'll do an official, like, my personal hot take, knee-jerk reaction review of Skyward Sword. Okay, I'm going to hit play. Thank you, Zeltic. It's like my favorite team, the Boston Celtics. It's dumb, sorry. Spoiler warning, surprise, surprise, this video contains spoilers for Skyward Sword. Thank you. If you haven't played it yourself, I'd advise saving this. No, I've played it. This is why that's why I'm watching.
Takes place at the very beginning of the Zelda timeline.
Yep.
And sets up a lot of the recurring elements throughout the series. Link, Ganon and Zelda's origins, the birth of the Kingdom of Hyrule, and the very beginning of the cycle of reincarnation that has led to so many different Links and Zeldas throughout time.
I wonder if Ghirardelli has anything to do with Ganon, because they kept saying that I think they were reporting back to someone, so I'm curious to see if that will be, because he just said, which is huge, like it says, spoiler warning, I didn't know that Ganon, this is where Ganon gets his start too, which makes sense.
The game's story is one of the most extensive in the series, and in my opinion, one of the best.
That's why I loved it so much. The distant past.
In the beginning, there was a nameless void, into which descended three divine beings, the golden goddesses Din, Nehru, and Farore. Together, the goddesses created the earth, the laws of the universe, and all life which populated the new world. Okay. With their great work completed, the golden goddesses performed their final tasks. The deities poured their essence into a sacred artifact. 3 golden triangles, the Omnipotent's Triforce.
Okay.
The Triforce was a symbol of their strength, designed to guide the intelligent life that inhabited the land, a foundation for the world's providence. Due to the sheer might of the Triforce, the Golden Goddesses entrusted it to the goddess Hylia before departing for the heavens, leaving the world and the Triforce in her care. It's not...
That's really good to know, because I've heard of the Triforce. I remember it a little bit of it, I think, in the original Zelda, but that was, like I said, that was late 80s. I was a kid. And you guys talk about it, and I know that Zelda's got some sort of connection to it, but it's good to know now kind of exactly what it is.
Clear if Hylia was created by the Golden Goddesses, or if she existed already before the creation of the world.
Okay.
As far as we know, the Golden Goddesses are the most powerful beings in the Zelda pantheon, so it makes sense for them to have created Hylia for the sole purpose of watching over their creation. Regardless, for a while, this new world was at peace. A time known as the Era of the Goddess Hylia. Races such as the Gorons, Perella, Mogma, Kikwi, humans, even the technologically advanced ancient robots, all thrived under Hylia's care. And structures such as the Temple of Hylia, a palace featuring a gargantuan statue of the goddess, were raised during this era of prosperity. But this peace did not last. One dark day, the earth itself was torn asunder, and foul beings poured forth into the realm, demons, led by their king, known only as Demise, a being hell-bent on a single goal, taking the Triforce for himself and making the world his own.
Is that Ganon?
Demise's true origins are unknown. Whether he appeared from another dimension, another time, or whether he was simply another creation of the Golden Goddesses is a mystery. Only his malevolent intentions are clear. Demise led his armies to war against the people of Hyrule and their goddess. The demons burned forests to ash and murdered without mercy, fueled by their maddening lust to seize the ultimate power. This war was unparalleled in scale and ferocity, and despite the goddess's divine powers, the armies defending the Triforce began to falter. During the darkest hour, Hylia was forced to evacuate the surviving humans and the Triforce itself, raising them into the skies, alongside the Temple of Hylia's statue of the goddess, before projecting a magical cloud barrier between land and sky, which put the sacred artifact out of Demise's immediate reach. With the Triforce safe, the goddess turned her attention back to the Demon King and his armies. Despite Demise's overwhelming power, Hylia, carrying a blade known as the Goddess Sword, rallied the remaining people of the surface into a final defense.
So that's why she created Skyloft, was to raise the Triforce up above this land, which so far has not been called Hyrule, but we know it's Hyrule, and to keep it away from Demise. And then she went to go put her attention to that, and then she had the Goddess Sword, which I wonder if the Goddess Sword is what becomes the Master Sword? Let's find out.
The races of Hylia's land stood alongside their divine guardian against the demonic hordes, and despite the goddess suffering grave injuries, Demise fell and was sealed by Hylia. Peace had returned to the land, but at a cost. Hylia was mortally wounded, her people scattered, and despite Demise's apparent defeat, the goddess knew that the seal which bound him would not last forever. Hylia had impaled the Dark King's skull with a powerful artifact known as the Sealing Spike, which stripped him of his physical body, trapping the demon within the monstrous form of the imprisoned,
That was the vision that Link had, right? In the beginning, was that creature.
was then itself sealed at the very spot in which the statue of the goddess once stood. But he was not defeated. The war wasn't over. One day, Demise would return and the world would end. The goddess responded to this by putting into motion two separate plans and then vanished from the world. With the seeds for these divine plans sowed, the fragile peace continued for an age, though slowly but surely, the seal on Demise began to weaken.
Okay, now we're present day. We got Link and Zelda, the originals.
Centuries later, the islands raised into the heavens by Hylia have developed into small settlements above the clouds. The largest of these, of course, being Skyloft. A skyfaring civilization developed. There are pubs, shops, even the Knights Academy, a school which trains warriors, and Skyloft's people ride Loftwings to travel between islands. Loftwings are great, intelligent birds, and each Skyloftian is considered one half of a pair, bound to their bird for life. Among the people of the sky are Zelda, the daughter of the Academy's headmaster, Link, a young student, as well as Groose, Link's rival, a loud, obnoxious bully with an admittedly sick pompadour.
Groose.
There's a love triangle here. Link and Zelda are close friends, bordering on something more, but Groose also likes Zelda and hates how close she is with Link. The game begins with Link dreaming. A strange, ethereal voice calls out to him, calling for him to awaken and play his role in a great destiny. An apparition of a dark beast appears to Link, the monstrous form we'll come to know as the Imprisoned.
Godzilla.
Link wakes up on the day of the Wings Ceremony, an annual event for the Knight Academy which celebrates both Hylia and an individual known as her chosen hero, a warrior said to have fought alongside the goddess in an ancient era. Zelda is chosen to play the role of the goddess Hylia, while a flying contest decides which student from the Knight Academy will play the role of the chosen hero. And obviously this ends up being Link, who's rewarded with the sailcloth. The sailcloth was said to have been gifted to the chosen hero by Hylia long ago, but this one was handmade by Zelda herself. After the ceremony, the pair fly together on their loft wings. The pair laugh and soar through the evening skies, but as Zelda is about to confess a secret, she's torn from the skies by a great tornado.
Okay.
Link is knocked unconscious and carried back to Skyloft by his loft wing, but Zelda is gone. While unconscious, Link again falls into a strange dream. The mysterious voice, though no longer disembodied, tells him that it's his time to awaken, that he's vital to a mission of great importance. This ghost-like figure appears again on Skyloft, leading Link towards the statue of the goddess, where it reveals a secret entrance at its base.
I ignored her all the time.
Inside the statue, Link confronts the Spectre, which reveals its identity as Fi, a creation of the goddess Hylia designed for a single purpose long ago, to live within the goddess sword, to aid a chosen hero on his journey. Fi explains that Zelda is still alive, that she, too, is a chosen individual fated to be part of this great mission. Link draws the goddess sword before Fi gifts him the Emerald Tablet, which, when placed into a pedestal, pierces the cloud barrier that separates the surface and the skies, allowing Link to begin his journey in the world below. As the winner of the Wings Ceremony's competition, therefore graduating, Link dons the traditional outfit of the Knights Academy in this year's colours,
Traditional
a familiar
Link
forest
outfit.
green. He grabs his Crimson Loftwing and sets forth on his adventure, plunging through the portal in the cloud barrier to the mysterious surface in search of Zelda. This is where the game's story truly begins. Link lands in the Sealed Grounds, a strange forest surrounding a deep spiraled crater overlooked by the ruins of a forgotten temple. These ruins are that of the Temple of Hylia, the shrine built in the ancient past while the goddess herself still walked the earth. The pit below it is the very same place in which Demise was sealed in the form of the Imprisoned, and his dark energy bleeds out from the sealing spike.
Oh, okay.
In the ruins of the Temple of Hylia, now known as the Sealed Temple, Link meets a mysterious old woman who's hunched over, buried under a pointed cloak. She has an extraordinarily long braid in her hair, which is coiled around her head many times. The symbol on the back of her cloak is that of the Sheikah Eye, a strong hint towards her true identity. The old woman reveals that she has sat waiting for Link for many years, so that she could guide him on his journey. She's
like
met
Impa.
Zelda, who has gone to the Farron Woods to discover her destiny. Link travels to the shaded Farron Woods and opens the ruinous Skyview Temple with a slingshot. He traverses through the dungeon, solving puzzles and slaying enemies, until he's stopped by the appearance of a sinister figure,
Ghirardelli.
Girahim, or Lord Girahim as he prefers to be called, apparently rules the demons on the surface. He's well-spoken, prideful, and absolutely psychotic, reveling in slaughter and violence. Girahim reveals that it was he who sent the tornado into the skies. He plucked Her Majesty from her perch in the clouds, as he puts it. However, a servant of the goddess managed to snatch Zelda from his clutches, and now she's just beyond the door in the Skyview Spring. Furious, Girahim tries to beat Link to within an inch of his life, flying at him with a razor-like curved black sword, but the hero ultimately bests him in the ensuing duel. The Demon Lord vanishes. Link has won, for now. By the time Link leaves the dark Skyview Temple and steps into the spring outside, Zelda has gone. But Fi relays a message left for the hero by the goddess Hylia.
So this was the spring. I see it now. You guys keep telling me, look at the springs. They're almost identical to Breath of the Wild. And yeah, I get it. That's the spring from Breath of the Wild.
Guidance from the edge of time. The message reveals that, for whatever reason, Zelda must purify her body at 2 separate springs. This Skyview Spring and the Earth Spring, found near the fiery Eldin volcano, to which Zelda has already begun her journey. The Skyview Spring gifts Link the Ruby Tablet, opening another portal through the Cloud Barrier, to the Eldin region, where Link finds and conquers the Earth Temple in search of the spring. At the very end of the temple, much like at the end of the Skyview Temple, Girahim appears to face Link. He explains that he'd heard that his minions had finally captured Zelda, and that he'd rushed to the temple only to find, to his fury, that the same servant of the goddess had snatched her from their grasp once again. We get a glimpse at Girahim's true goal here. He needs Zelda to somehow resurrect his master, who we'll learn later is Demise, the ancient demon king who challenged Hylia in the distant past. Girahim vanishes, but not before setting one of his minions on Link, the volcanic Skoldera, who dies, and Link heads through to the Earth Spring.
That was a good boss
Here,
fight.
Link finally sees Zelda again, alive and well, standing next to a tall, mysterious woman. Zelda notices Link and begins to run towards him, but is stopped by the woman, who insists that they focus on the task ahead. Zelda apologizes to Link and steps into a portal of golden light, vanishing. The woman, who wears her golden hair in a long braid and features the Sheikah eye symbol on her forehead, scolds Link for being so late. He had failed to protect Zelda. Without this strange servant of the goddess's intervention, Zelda would have already been lost. You must summon a shred of courage and face the trials before you, says the woman, before disappearing after Zelda.
Impa.
The Earth Spring also hides a message for Link left by the goddess Hylia, revealing that Zelda has set off for the Temple of Time in the Lanayru Desert, to travel through a gate of time into a distant world. Note that this isn't the Temple of Time that we're familiar with from Ocarina of Time and Breath of the Wild. This is an even earlier site, from which the architects of the later temple took its name. Like with the Eldin region, the Lanayru Desert is unlocked with a tablet, opening another portal in the clouds. This area features the Lanayru mining facility, the ancient robots, and timeshift stones. Blue crystals which, when struck, create small pockets of time travel, bubbles of a technologically advanced past. At the Temple of Time, Link once again encounters Zelda and this woman, but surprise surprise, they're ambushed once again by Girahim, who draws his sword and lunges forward. The woman, whose name is revealed to be Impa, meets Girahim in combat, blocking the demon's strikes with a magical shield. Girahim hacks violently at Impa's guard, while Zelda throws Link the goddess harp. A piercing blow from Girahim's sword finally breaks through Impa's magic, throwing her aside and clearing the demon's path to Zelda, but Link leaps in to join the battle, narrowly missing a jumping swing with a goddess sword before standing to block Girahim's passage. Before the Demon Lord can recover, Impa tells Link to visit the old woman at the sealed grounds and enters the Gate of Time with Zelda, before destroying the portal with a magical explosion.
Okay.
Girahim is untethered, and his rage knows no bounds. He threatens to kill Link so excruciatingly that he'll deafen himself with the sound of his own screams. Gnarly. But, as he puts it, he has no time for recreation, and so vanishes once more. Link makes his way to the sealed grounds, but brings with him an unlikely visitor from the skies.
Oops.
Now loose, Groose gives Link abuse, before realising just where they are, the surface. A land below the clouds, a mere myth to the people from the skies. Groose, of course, decides to name this place Grooseland, and so sets off to find Zelda himself. In the sealed temple, the old woman reveals that Impa is a being sent forth by the goddess to aid Zelda in her quest, and that the pair of them are now out of reach, save for one single doorway. By playing the goddess harp, Zelda's magical instrument, Link summons a second Gate of Time.
It might answer my question, but so is that the same Impa? I mean, why would you you can't just keep copying names over, right? Like, oh, it's a different Lanayru, it's a different Temple of Time, it's a different Beetle, it's a different Impa. Like, you just can't keep doing that. Like, but you know, it's a reincarnated Link and Zelda. Like, Impa was sent by the goddess Hylia, so was she taken back and then sent again during the time of Hyrule Warriors?
Last of its kind in existence, though unlike its sibling at the Temple of Time, this portal is dormant. In order to awaken it, Link must empower the Goddess Sword with 3 sacred flames, hidden in the various regions of the surface. However, as Impa explains the Gate of Time to Link, the ground suddenly, violently shakes. A monstrous roar echoes throughout the sealed grounds. The imprisoned demise, sealed by Hylia, had reacted to the summoning of the gate, and broke free of its binds. At the bottom of the pit, the imprisoned tears free into the world of the living, a colossal, scaled beast. Slowly but surely, the imprisoned makes its way up towards the sealed temple.
I'm sorry. It's a look like he has like a Godzilla head, but like, I don't know, like Snuffleupagus feet. Like, I don't think...
Escapes the pit, all is lost, and the world ends. After a long battle, Link manages to cut down...
Like, he kind of looks like a boss fight created by Jim Henson. You know, like, I'm a Muppet. Like, I don't know. He just really kind of cracks me up.
The demon and hammer the spike back into its skull, sealing the beast until its inevitable return.
Well, that was easy. Probably not if I actually played it.
In order to learn the locations of the 3 sacred flames with which to imbue the Goddess Sword, Link enters the Thunderhead, a huge storm in the clouds above. The Thunderhead conceals the Isle of Songs, at which Fi will relay messages from Hylia to Link, revealing details about the sacred flames' locations and teaching him 3 harp songs. The messages explain that in order to obtain the flames, Link must earn 3 sacred gifts, bestowed upon completion of 3 separate trials. These relics are the Water Dragon's Scale, allowing Link to swim underwater, the Claw Shots, a pair of twin hook shots, and the Fire Shield earrings, protecting him against extreme heat.
That would be helpful.
3 items are obtained after completion of Silent Realm trials. Link must play the various themes learned at the Isle of Songs to open trial gates in 3 areas, which then allow him to access the Silent Realm, a mysterious, ethereal parallel world only inhabited by eerie figures known as the Guardians. To complete a silent trial, Link must collect sacred tears, avoiding the sentinels and waking water, eventually earning himself the trial's sacred gift. Each time Link obtains a gift, he's able to access a new area, each home to a dungeon, completing which will allow Link to empower his sword with a sacred flame. The Farron region features the Ancient Cistern, which upgrades the Goddess Sword into the Goddess Longsword. The Lanayru region has the Sand Ship, which upgrades the blade into the Goddess White Sword, and the Eldin region has the Fire Sanctuary, which finally transforms the blade into the legendary Master Sword, after a second encounter with Girahim. Link returns to the sealed grounds, now able to awaken the Gate of Time which lies dormant there, but a familiar foe reacts to the sacred power of Link's sword. The imprisoned breaks free once again. With the help of Groose, who has built himself a weapon of mass destruction he calls the Groosinator, Link seals the beast, and the evil is suppressed once more.
Nice job, Link. And it's
Finally,
a Master Sword.
Link is able to awaken the Gate of Time. Loosing a Skyward Strike at the dormant block causes it to transform into a portal identical to that which Impa had destroyed at the Temple of Time. The gate opens, revealing row after row of churning cogs, like the mechanism of a great clock. The Gate of Time leads to the distant past, to a time in which the goddess Hylia has only just sealed away demise after the ancient battle for the Triforce, and has only just raised land into the skies to protect her people. Where Link now stands is the Temple of Hylia. Long before it would come to be known as the Sealed Temple, long before his own time. He stands now in the time of legends, shortly after a battle where gods and demons fought for the fate of the world. And it's here, in the distant past, where Link is finally reunited with Zelda, who explains the truth, her role in this story. Zelda tells that after sealing Demise, Hylia set into motion 2 plans. The first was the creation of Fi, a spirit which would rest within the goddess sword, designed to assist a hero on his future journey to save the world from Demise's inevitable return. But there was a second plan. Hylia gave up her divinity, shed her immortal form, so that she could one day be reborn as a mortal. These plans were necessary for a reason. While the Triforce was designed by the ancient golden goddesses, it was designed only for use by mortals, to guide them and to aid in the prosperity of their land. By design, all of the Triforce's power cannot be wielded by a god, and so Hylia was unable to wield it, yet she knew that its limitless power would be necessary to stop Demise. So the 2 plans set in motion, the creation of Fi and her reincarnation, were both designed with a single purpose: to use the Triforce to defeat Demise, her last and only hope. And as sure as Link is the chosen hero for which Fi was created, Zelda is the goddess Hylia herself, reborn as a mortal.
It all makes sense now! Okay, I was like, why is Zelda so powerful? And okay, and I've always heard, okay, yep, I get it now. She's the goddess Hylia. Okay, got it.
Zelda explains that over the course of his adventure so far, Link has learned wisdom from solving devious puzzles and traps. He's gained power by honing and tempering both himself and his sword. And by overcoming the trials set before him by the goddess, he's found true courage. With these 3 qualities, he's now worthy of wielding the Triforce.
He looks like he's been drinking a lot of coffee along the way.
His hand glows brightly with the full symbol of the Triforce, of power, of wisdom, and of courage. Link's journey has forged him into an individual possessing all 3 qualities of the Triforce, and so he can now wield its complete power. We've seen later on in the timeline what happens when someone who possesses an imbalance of these qualities tries to use the Triforce. Ocarina of Time's Ganondorf personifies power, and so when he breaks into the Sacred Realm and reaches the Triforce, it shatters, leaving him with only the Triforce of Power, the piece which he embodies most, while the other 2 house themselves in Link and Zelda.
I have a feeling it's spoiling something in Ocarina of Time, and I am still planning on playing that game at some point here.
But by proving himself to possess all 3 attributes, Skyward Sword's Link will be able to use the entire Triforce to bring an end to Demise, once and for all. Zelda blesses the Master Sword, the blade created by Hylia and tempered by her hero, and her blessing imbues it with the mythical power to drive back demons. All of this was Hylia's plan. The 3 sacred flames and the Silent Realm trials were designed to make Link prove himself, and Hylia knew that if Zelda was in trouble, Link would throw himself headfirst into any danger without even a moment's doubt. In her own words, she used Link to tip the scales in her favour in the war against Demise. This is why Zelda couldn't talk to Link at the Earth Spring. She needed to lure him to the next trial.
I see.
Heartbroken at having manipulated Link, Zelda intends to pay the price for her actions. To ensure that Demise's seal holds from this point in the distant past all the way until the present day, Zelda will remain in the Temple of Hylia, in the distant past, asleep for thousands of years. Once Demise is destroyed in the present, she'll be able to wake up, as she won't need to keep up this seal. She explains that, before memories of her past life returned to her at the 2 springs, she had no idea of their destiny. Before all of this, she was happy just spending time hanging around Skyloft. To Link's horror, Zelda seals herself within an amber crystal, prepared to remain there for millennia protecting Demise's seal. Though she's Hylia reborn, she's still her father's daughter. She's still Link's friend. She's still his Zelda.
Aww.
Link takes about 3 seconds to process the fact that his whole world has just come crashing down around him, then nods and just gets on with it. He jumps back to the present through the Gate of Time, where he's met with the old woman, who reveals that even now, in the present day, Zelda is still behind those same doors. She's still sealed in the Amber Crystal, protecting the seal on the imprisoned Demise. Even in the beginning of the game, the first time you enter the sealed temple, you're able to see Zelda's crystal through the cracks in the stone doors. This means that, until Zelda passed through the Gate of Time with Impa, there were 2 Zeldas present on the surface at the same time.
Trippy.
The same person at different points in their timelines.
Wibbly wobbly,
When I
timey
took this
wimey.
footage, Link is travelling to the Skyview Temple to find Zelda, as she's just fallen from the sky, but another Zelda is sealed within this crystal here. The Zelda at the Skyview Temple will eventually travel back through time and become the Zelda within the crystal, ensuring that the imprisoned remains imprisoned. The old woman explains that it's thought that the Triforce was hidden within Skyloft by the goddess, so Link sets back off to the skies. Above the clouds, Link finds the sky spirit Levias, a gargantuan flying whale plagued by a terrible parasite, which the hero destroys. Levias tells Link to search for the dragons on the surface, who can teach him parts of the Song of the Hero, the key to revealing the Triforce's location. So Link travels back across the surface, seals the imprisoned for a 3rd time, and learns parts of the Song of the Hero from Faron, Eldin, and Lanayru. The last of which the hero has to heal by growing a Tree of Life sapling in the distant past and picking a life tree fruit from its branches in the present, thousands of years later. Levias then completes the Song of the Hero, which allows access to the Skyloft Silent Realm, which in turn opens up Sky Keep, a labyrinthian dungeon built into Skyloft, designed by the goddess to house the Triforce itself. Sky
Wow.
Keep is the game's final dungeon,
Okay.
bringing together elements from all dungeons across the game, during which Link finds the Triforce pieces of wisdom, power, and courage, finally completing the divine artifact. With the entire Triforce in his possession, Link stands atop Skyloft's great statue of the goddess, closes his eyes, and makes a wish planned thousands of years ago, for the destruction of Demise. And the gods answer. The Triforce glows with a brilliant light, and the entire island upon which Skykeep and the goddess statue are built drops, plummeting from Skyloft through the clouds and towards the surface below. Just as Demise, as the imprisoned, breaks free once more, the entire island comes crashing down, crushing the Demon
like it's gonna
King
be a
beneath
perfect fit.
thousands of tons of stone. Black energy flares around the sealed grounds, and Fee confirms it. The Demon King has been annihilated in his entirety by the power of the Triforce. Demise is dead, and Zelda can awaken.
Wow.
Link rushes to the sealed temple, and sure enough, Zelda wakes. The amber in which she was suspended breaks, and, their great tasks completed, the two fall into each other's arms. Groose, the old woman, Link and Zelda celebrate their victory, the final eradication of Demise, until Girahim bursts into the room with a flash of sharp magic.
Ooh.
My master may have perished in this age, spits Girahim, but in the past he lives yet. I'm taking the girl back through that gate to help me revive the Demon King. Link tries to stand against Girahim, but is too weak, and despite his courage, Groose fails to block the demon's path to the gate. The two vanish into the distant past, followed closely by Link. In the past, Link finds Impa wounded on the temple floor. She, too, had failed to stop Girahim, who has escaped outside to the sealed grounds pit. While the Triforce had eradicated Demise entirely in the present, by this point in time, the distant past, this has not yet happened. The Demon King remains sealed. Girahim plans to use Zelda's divine soul to fully resurrect Demise, to break him free of his binds as the imprisoned, setting him free to rule the world.
A lot of
To
time
do
travel
this,
stuff
he begins
happening.
a ritual at the bottom of the pit, dancing and chanting around Zelda's unconscious body. Needing time to complete this ritual, Girahim summons a legion of monsters to stall the hero's descent into the pit. Girahim sends forth hundreds of his own to their deaths, screaming that he doesn't care if the whole lot of them get lodged on the end of Link's sword, they will buy him the time he needs. It's an army versus one human, but that human is Link. The hero tears his way through Girahim's legion of monsters, the sacred might of the Master Sword cleaving through bokoblins, stalfos, even moblins with ease, until he finally carves his way down to Zelda and Girahim. Girahim, in a blood-curdling rage, throws and suspends Zelda in the air high above the battlefield, determined to finally finish the meddlesome hero and complete his ritual without interruption. The Demon Lord explodes into dark energy and raises himself and the hero onto a magical platform high above the sealed grounds. Here we see Girahim's final form, a sleek, metallic body, smooth and marked in black and white. And for a second, we see a glimpse of his true self. Just as he refers to himself as a weapon, we see him not as a demon lord, but as a brutal black sword. After a two-phase battle, first fought on the magic platforms and then a sword fight on the surface, Girahim is defeated for the last time.
I bet this was
He
hard.
curses Link, but it's already too late. His ritual is complete, and his master will walk the earth once more. Darkness swells from the center of the pit, and sure enough, the imprisoned breaks free once more, towering above Link. However, this time it has Zelda, still suspended in the air by Girahim's magic. The beast roars and begins to consume Zelda's soul, feasting on the divine energy, using its power to return to its true form. Silence falls on the sealed grounds. The imprisoned's hulking shadow no longer looms over the pit, yet the pit is darker than ever. An ancient evil has returned to the world. Demise
looks like a Lionel, doesn't he? Kind of looks like a Lionel a little bit.
Reborn. Wordlessly, the Demon King raises his hand towards Girahim, who falls limp, rising slowly into the air. Demise smiles and pulls a great sword from the Demon Lord's chest, before absorbing what remains of Girahim into its blade. The weapon is the negative image of the Master Sword. Where the goddess's blade is light, smooth and straight, Demise's is black, brutal and jagged. Whereas Fi is the spirit of the Master Sword, created by Hylia in an ancient age to serve the hero, Girahim is the spirit of Demise's blade. His final form closely resembles Fi, smooth and metallic, and his text box features the same Hylian letters in the background, which translates to sword. If the Master Sword is a blade to bring hope to the land, then this sword is a weapon to blot out the light. The ancient Demon King has been reborn, and his victory seems all but guaranteed. But one last obstacle stands between him and Dominion, Link, who stands defiant, sword drawn. His bravery impresses Demise, who before had seen humans only as weak things, insects shivering under rocks and fleeing at the mere sight of him. When Demise last walked the earth, its people screamed and clung to Hylia, desperate for the protection of their goddess, but now a human stands against him, prepared to dance with death to defend his world. Demise prepares a place to entertain his challenger, a strangely peaceful realm, an unfamiliar sky reflected in an endless pool of shallow water.
The hate for the gods that has boiled in my veins. You will taste all of it in the bite of my blade.
Okay then.
If Link falls here, his world and everything in it will belong to Demise. His to dominate, his to subjugate, his to rule. Everyone Link has ever known will perish. Anyone who opposes the Demon King will be slain without mercy unless he triumphs over darkness in this final battle.
This
Demise
is hard with motion controls.
With monstrous strength, but moves terrifyingly quickly for a being of his size. He lunges at the hero with violent swings and sharp punches, even calls down lightning and catches it, bringing the black blades to life with crackling blue energy. But in the end, the Demon King falls. Link leaps into the air, catching his own bolt of lightning with the blade of the Master Sword and driving it deep into the demon's chest. Demise stands, defiant, and tries to raise his sword skyward once more, but his strength fails him. His sword, Girahim's true form, abandons him, leaving the king alone in the darkness he summoned. But this is not the end. Before his flame burns out, with his dying breath, Demise rasps a curse.
My hate never perishes. It is born anew in a cycle with no end. I will rise again. Those like you, those who share the blood of the goddess and the spirit of the hero, they are eternally bound to this curse. An incarnation of my hatred shall ever follow your kind, dooming them to wander a blood-soaked sea of darkness for all time.
An incarnation. That's gotta be Ganon. Wow.
With that, Demise disintegrates. His body crumbles to ash, and what little remains of his consciousness is sealed within the Master Sword. The Demon King is defeated, and the world is saved. But like Demise said, this isn't the end. His curse defines the entire Zelda series. Demise is the source of demons, the origin of Hyrule's long history of bloodshed and torment. Fi describes him as having conquered time itself, and this seems to be true. As he claims, an incarnation of his hatred plagues Hyrule for all time. This incarnation is of course implied to be Ganon, though there are other villains in the series which could also have their roots in this curse. During Demise's speech at the beginning of the battle, Ganon's theme plays, and his flaming red hair was designed as a direct connection to Ganondorf's hair colour. Ganondorf is essentially Demise reborn, his hatred and his malice resurfaced. In fact, Breath of the Wild heavily explored the idea of malice as a distinct energy form. It's the energy of the Calamity Ganon, and it creates and powers its minions, it causes the Blood Moon, it's the substance from which the Blight, the Calamity, and Dark Beast Ganon itself are formed. In the original Japanese version of Skyward Sword, Demise claims that his hatred and malice will follow Link and Zelda for all time, using the exact same kanji as the subtitle for Dark Beast Ganon, Hatred and Malice Incarnate. So it's possible that Demise is the ancient origin of malice, an idea we see explored in small ways in Skyward Sword, such as the energy powering Koloktos or the evil crystals obtained from some enemies. It's possible that Ganondorf would have been born regardless of this curse, as the king of the Gerudo shortly before Ocarina of Time, but his descent into madness, his burning lust for the Triforce, and his subsequent transformation into a beast bent on bringing Hyrule to its knees was because he was Demise's hatred and malice reborn. Which makes you wonder, will Hyrule's torment ever end? Even if Ganondorf is defeated in Breath of the Wild's sequel, and the Calamity finally brought to an end, Demise's curse would suggest that, inevitably, darkness will return to Hyrule. It's the beginning of Zelda's cyclical history of evil and hope, darkness and light.
Wow, okay.
But for the time being, Demise has been eradicated, and the world is at peace. Link, Zelda, Groose and Impa reunite in the Temple of Hylia, their war finally over. Link lays the Master Sword to rest, as the last remnants of Demise are slowly decaying within, leading to an emotional farewell with Fi. The spirit explains that, while she was created simply to carry out one purpose, as a tool built by the goddess, over the course of their journey she's come to consider the time spent with Link among the most precious data she has on record. She feels something she's unable to identify, a feeling which most closely correlates with the emotion of happiness. Her great task finally complete, Fi begins a sleep without end in the sword. The group ready the
I wonder where she is in the rest of time then. Like, so the Master Sword is there waiting for probably Link to use it again on some other Zelda game. But is Fi still attached to the Master Sword? Because we never heard anything about her in Breath of the Wild.
Themselves to return through the gate of time to the present day, but Impa refuses to follow. She explains that she is a being of this age, and was instructed by Hylia to travel through the gate to assist Zelda. Her role fulfilled, she must now remain in the past to watch over the Master Sword. Zelda gives Impa one of her bracelets, and the heroes return to the present, where they're met with a familiar face, the old woman of the sealed temple. Immediately after leaving Impa in the past, the truth is clear. The old woman isn't some mysterious hermit,
It's Impa.
she is Impa, after having waited in the temple since the distant past. For
Oh
the
my
three who
gosh.
passed through the Gate of Time, mere moments have passed since
And it looks like Impa from Breath of the Wild. It kind of does. Which then still, again, raises tons of questions.
they talked with the Sheikah, but for the old woman it has been centuries. Impa smiles, telling Zelda she said they'd meet again, before fading away, finally at peace. Much in the same way that Sheikah monks vanish after Link completes their trial. Impa leaves behind only a bracelet, the same one given to her in the distant past by Zelda, many years ago. Behind her lies the Master Sword, still in its pedestal, at rest until the next time it is needed. During the game's end credits, we see a few extra scenes. First, a sequence showing Zelda's journey on the surface, immediately following her having been knocked down by the tornado. She wakes on the hard ground near the sealed temple, where she's guided by the old Impa, and travels to purify herself in the waters of the Skyview Spring. She then attempts to sneak into the Earth Temple and its spring, but is captured by bokoblins and imprisoned within the dungeon. The young Impa, having just travelled through the Gate of Time from the distant past into the present, begins her journey and rescues the reborn goddess, taking her to the Earth Spring, to the Temple of Time in Lanayru, and finally back through the gate into the distant past, where Zelda learns the truth about her identity. The game ends with a final scene, set at the sealed grounds. The goddess statue looms tall above the sealed temple, where it once stood in the past, and now stands again after the Triforce Wish brought it back to the surface. Gaepora, Corlin and Stritch reunite with Zelda and Groose, before Link and Zelda spend a quiet moment atop the statue, where they stood after the wing ceremony long ago. Interestingly, the last time the pair stood atop this statue, it was to honour not only the goddess, but a legendary warrior known as the goddess's chosen hero, a being said to have fought alongside Hylia in a distant age,
That's really
to
them.
whom she gifted the sailcloth. However, this Link here is a hero described as the chosen hero throughout the game, who travelled back through time to a distant age to fight Demise. So it's very possible that there was no ancient chosen hero, but it was always this Link, an example of the bootstrap paradox. There are some strong counter-arguments, however, to this idea, so I'll explore it in detail later on this week. Zelda explains that she always dreamed of a world below, and wanted to see the surface with her own eyes. With the Triforce behind them, Zelda says that she wants to live down here, to settle on the surface, with the ground beneath their feet and the clouds above their heads. She asks if Link wants the same, and the hero smiles back. Hylians did settle on the surface, and the Kingdom of Hyrule was founded, beginning the vast history of the Zelda series. Skyward Sword essentially lets us play through Hyrule's mythology, the battles between gods and demons that forged the kingdom long, long ago.
Wow.
Thank you so much for watching this video. It took a huge amount of work, so if you liked it, leave a like or subscribe if you haven't already for more Zelda content. Cheers guys, and I'll see you next time.
Well, good job, Zeltic. And thank you for making this video. Wow. That was so cool. That was awesome. Well, there you go. There's Skyward Sword in 42 minutes. And a whole lot of clarity. Okay guys, that is gonna do it for our time with Skyward Sword, and I am very thankful for that video. That channel apparently has a lot of stuff to know about Zelda, and it's a good resource for lore, so make sure to check out Zeltic on YouTube as well. Guys, that was cool. Now I still have a few questions here, and I'll let you guys fill me in if you know. So the only thing I didn't quite understand was still how is it that Link and Zelda are like cursed to reincarnate? Like, I saw how Demise was like, forever I will be the evil in Hyrule or whatever in this world, and he's like, and I will, you know, be fighting at you all this time. And so he's saying that, and he's just like assuming that they're gonna get, or was that the curse that makes them reincarnated every time? I'm just wondering, like, Were they already going to be through the ages, or are they through the ages because of what he said? I know that's a really weird question, but now I'm getting too picky about, like, I want to nitpick all these little things and know everything. But now I know what the Triforce is. Now I know what the goddess Hylia is, or who she was, and really she's Zelda. And that's interesting. And so through the ages, does Zelda know that? And does every version of Zelda know that she's Hylia? I don't know. And I don't think that Link knows that he's the chosen hero every single time, but they're just destined to be together. And it's interesting that the evil of Demise, his rage, his anger, is kind of maybe what's coming back. It's an incarnation of it, is Ganon every single time. Now this, I think, could have potentially spoiled some stuff for Ocarina of Time, but don't worry about it. I'm not worried about it. I'm already lost in some ways. I don't think... So Ganon's name was Ganondorf in Ocarina of Time, but I don't know anything about Ganon's role. There was a part of me that almost... I know this is going to sound stupid, but there was a part of me that wondered if, like, somehow Groose was actually going to be used, like Demise was going to use, like Groose was going to be that bully bad guy rival of Link that had a thing for Zelda that eventually was going to, like, sell his soul to, you know, Demise or something like that, and then Demise would use him to become Ganon, and he had, like, the red fiery hair or something. You know, I guess that would have been silly. But yeah, no, okay, I've got answers now. We know how the Master Sword was created. I guess we know how the reincarnating through the ages, got started. We know that Demise, if nothing else, is at least the energy that would become Ganon. Ganon was, I guess, so Ganon was Demise. I don't know. Or Ganon just came from the curse as an incarnation of Demise. Anyway, the one thing they said in that video that was true is that this was one of the richest stories. And that's one thing I will say. Let's talk about, I will give you my final review on Skyward Sword. And this is not at all the way that I wanted to finally come to this point. I was planning on playing this game, guys, and playing it all the way through. But you know what? After experiencing it for myself, and then watching and seeing how much more there was to do for lore and how much more there would have been to get through in that game, I would have gladly played it with normal third-person controls. I'm so glad that I didn't have to try to achieve all of that by using these motion controls. I think it was a really good idea to just experience it and then watch the rest of it and understand it and have it explained to me like that. Because now it's getting me really excited with a ton of questions for Tears of the Kingdom whenever we get there. Maybe I need to go play Ocarina of Time. Maybe that should be the next game before Tears of the Kingdom, because I get a feeling that Ocarina of Time will just fill in more stuff and then get me even more prepared for Tears. But I'll be honest, I want to play that game so bad. And I don't think I need Ocarina of Time. I can play Ocarina of Time after. I could play Ocarina of Time on Patreon. I could do any of those things, you know. I'm not going to play it on Patreon. I want the whole community to see it. But I'm just really anxious for Tears of the Kingdom. And I feel like this, having all of this explained and playing Skyward Sword kind of alley-ooped it to us and said, all right, now the sky's falling in Tears of the Kingdom, and maybe you know why. Maybe that's Skyloft coming down. Maybe all this time they had no idea in Hyrule at this age, of the age of Breath of the Wild, that, you know, Skyloft even existed. Oh, so cool. So without a doubt, the story of Skyward Sword is amazing. The story of this game was the reason that I tried to persevere through it for so long. And it did everything I hoped it would do. The story gave me the origin I needed to know. And now I understand who Link was. And it was very interesting. They were mentioning in the video, you know, was there actually a chosen hero, or was it just that Link who went back and created, you know, those stories inadvertently that he would have to fulfill himself? Again, some Doctor Who timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly kind of stuff. You almost expect the TARDIS to fly in. That was really neat. So the story, let's break this down and let's talk about this game. The story of Skyward Sword is an absolute 10 in my books. I love this story. I do. I'm so glad that I was able to get to know it. Now, the graphics of the game, they were what they were for that time period, I guess. As far as the HD remaster of it, it's okay. I mean, it's not, it is what it is, guys. It's not going to be Horizon Forbidden West. You know, there's no ray tracing with this. You know, it is what it is. The graphics are kind of like blah. But it's not about the graphics with Zelda games, right? It's not about the graphics usually with Nintendo games, period. It's usually about the characters and the stories. So I'm not going to rate the graphics because they just are what they are. The story is a 10. The motion controls, if you're good at them, they're probably fun. But here's the thing. This will finally be the last I say about the controls. It wasn't just that, like I'm telling you, these Joy-Cons were amazing when I played Super Mario Odyssey. Amazing. I had so much fun playing that game, and very rarely did I ever feel like it was unsynced, or like it you know, I once in a while you'd give it a shake or whatever, and it would be fine. But these worked brilliantly with Super Mario Odyssey. Then I tried to use this for Skyward Sword, and what would happen is, as soon as I pull out, like hit the button to like pull out the beetle or whatever, my aiming reticule went like way over there, and everything was always unaligned. It didn't matter, like I kept my hands fairly still and pointed at, you know, in one direction, and it didn't matter. I could pull it out, it would go wonky, and then put it away and then leave it still, pull it out, it would go wonky every single time. And so I know that a lot of that wasn't just me. A lot of that was just the development of it, maybe maybe how it translated from the original Wii or Wii U or whatever it came out on to the Switch. I know a lot of people have said that it certainly wasn't the same because the Wii used to have like the motion bar that I guess picked up on the movement a little bit better. So, I mean, the controls, I mean, for me personally, I don't know. I mean, I usually rate everything 1 to 10. I haven't done a negative scale yet, you know. In fairness, there were a few times when it worked, it was kind of fun. It was fun for like a quick experience, not fun to play like a 38-hour playthrough through this game, which from what I've read, the average playtime, a lot of people say it takes about 35, 38, whatever. I would not have been, no way I would have wanted to play the game like that long. So, my problem is the story of this is so good. So watching that video, absolute 10. But when I actually have the controls in my hands, the Joy-Cons in my hands, and I'm trying to experience the game for myself, that's when the game really dropped down for me. Because, you know, a quick example, I just did the review for Halo 5. Halo 5's mechanics were the best in the series, in my opinion. I love the gameplay, the smoothness, the graphics, everything else. The only thing I didn't really care for as much with Halo 5 was the story, and especially the ending of the game, story-wise. But because at least I was able to experience the story, because the rest of the game was so good. It was fun to play, the controls were awesome, I loved it. The difference, though, with Skyward Sword is that the gameplay was so bad, I wouldn't have been able to experience the story on my own. I had to go watch a lore video. And for that reason, that just knocks it down. For me, it was a game-breaking issue. You know, and some of that is on me, my own skills and inability and my lack of patience to try to persevere through that long. But it's my channel, it's my review, and we're all entitled to our own opinion. Some of you guys give this game a perfect 10, and I totally respect that. I'm so glad that you have that, and that you can enjoy this game, and I hope that you get to play it over and over and over again and get all the joy out of Skyward Sword that you possibly can. For me, the story's a 10. The mechanics of the game were a 2. That's just my opinion. And so I've got to find somewhere in the middle, because the controls brought the rest of the game down so much for me that I'm going to give Skyward Sword a final rating of 4 out of 10. And so I didn't make it worse than my Halo 4 rating. I'm putting it on par with Halo 4. I could have been more brutal, but I've had a chance to step away from it, and that story was so good that it brought it up from what initially I was going to give the game like a 2. So the story was great, but unfortunately the story was so dragged down by the motion controls for me. But that's just my opinion. Other than that, I just do want to say a special thank you to Chiff Monkey, a member of our community who sent that game in through the P.O. Box a while back. And, you know, we've played, because of him, we've been able to play Hyrule Warriors and Skyward Sword, and we're finishing up Link's Awakening soon on Patreon, and those were all games that were sent in, and they were all good in different ways. My favorite of all of those, I actually think, was Hyrule Warriors, and this was obviously my least favorite, and I am enjoying Link's Awakening as well. But guys, that's it. That's our time with Skyward Sword. Do me a favor and comment down below and let me know what your thoughts are about the story. Let me know what I'm missing in the lore. Add to it. If there's anything I'm missing to get us ready for Tears of the Kingdom, I'd love to hear from you guys. So leave those comments down below. Make them long. Write me a 10-chapter book. I don't care. I want to know what I need to know going into Tears of the Kingdom, and I'm really excited about that. So let me know in the comments. Also, make sure to subscribe for more content as well. Hang out with us at Discord. The link for that is down below, and of course you can always dive in deeper with me and support the channel by hopping on over to Patreon, which you can get to by going to this link right here. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for your patience with me through this series. This was not the way I wanted to end Skyward Sword, but I think it was the right way to end Skyward Sword so that we can keep things the way they are in the channel. I'm not some rage gamer. I don't want to act like that. I want to enjoy the story, and it's really getting me excited for this. And guys, I'm going to be putting a poll up. I want to know what you guys want to do next. Is it going to be Tears of the Kingdom? Are you ready for this yet? Is it going to be Ocarina of Time? That's going to be the poll going up for the whole community to vote on. I know I'm excited for both, but I'm really feeling a personal need to get to this at some point here. So I'm really excited. That's not to influence your vote. I'm just saying, we got I'm sure a good long chunk of time on this channel that we're going to be devoting to Tears of the Kingdom, because I want to do all the shrines. I want to find the Korok seeds. Oh, I forgot that you guys told me when this came out that your horse gets imported. I could get Easy Boy back. I want to play Tears of the Kingdom so bad. I'm so excited. I want to go back. Breath of the Wild was literally one of the greatest games I've ever experienced in my life, and I can't wait to experience Tears of the Kingdom. Oh my word. That's going to be amazing. But if we need to do Ocarina of Time first, I'm not gonna go about that either. I'm excited. For 20 years or whatever, I've been hearing people talk about how great that game is, and I'm excited to eventually experience that either way as well. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I've been talking too much, but you know me, I love talking at you because I love talking to you. I love talking at you. I love talking because I love you guys, and you're my friends, and I love sharing these experiences with you. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this series. I love you guys, and I will talk to you soon. But until then, take it easy.